Hey guys, I just wanted to do an update for where I am with things at the moment because I made a drastic switch lately, and I just wanted to discuss what I've been doing and hopefully what I'll be able to show you guys at some point. So a while back, I think like over a year ago or something, I started playing quite a lot of survival shooters, in particular Deadside, which you can probably see me playing on this channel and stuff. And more importantly, it's a game I wanted to actually produce because I always feel like they miss the mark in various respects. Particularly say DayZ, I felt like, well, if nobody's online, where's the threat? You just run around with a gun and shoot the zombies and get all of the loot. And then equally on the opposite side, you've got games like Rust, where it's like, okay, so the PvP is really intense, the PvE's pretty good, but there's just the loot trading and stuff seems to be a bit extreme. The inventory management is a mess. I mean, obviously they're making improvements and things, but in any case, I wanted to be able to make my own. So for the last week and a half, I've practically stopped playing games and instead have been non-stop developing a survival style shooter, basically. And the biggest advantage of this is all of the code I'm using in here can be used almost identically in my RPG that I'm working on. So any improvements and new features and stuff I get in here that would be relevant to the RPG I've been working on, I can add back into that. So I've already done a lot of bug fixing and stuff because I've actually got a working inventory system now. That utilizes all of the exactly the same data tables and stuff that I've been working on in the RPG, all of the item tables, the weapon and projectile, all that kind of stuff. And I've just been improving it. I copied and pasted the code into this project, progressively fixed all of the bugs, and now I've got a lot of working examples of the data tables. So this is mostly, as those of you probably can tell, this is pretty much entirely the starter template with the floor missing. And the reason for that is I've got my own grid generation thing here, which all I have to do, set the radius, set the columns and rows, box size, and if I simulate, you can see it generates a grid of a set size in a set distance. So if I stop it and I go back to the grid, and let's say we change this to be 1, we hit simulate, it generates 1, and obviously all the physics volumes fall out of the world. Anyway, so this is just a precursor to level generation. It's just a proof of concept, if nothing else. However, if I change this back to something a bit more reasonable, probably 5's fine, isn't it? No, it is not. In fact, let me... Actually, its position is irrelevant because it's based all on 0, 0. So let me just put that back to 10. So, what we've got, there's quite a few things in here, but typically we have these loot boxes. Now this is a custom class, they have an ID, they have a container, which is an ID that represents essentially how many slots and stuff they have. So just like in the previous projects, if I go into my tables, there's this container data. Of course the ID setting the details here relates to the container data in here. In this case, it is a 10 base item container, so it's got 10 slots in it. And then I can set the amount of items to spawn on a per instance basis, and they have a unique ID which relates to these, which will be dynamically generated on spawn at some point, but for now it doesn't matter. And basically most the biggest thing that I wanted to get working. Oh, sorry, I need to close the spreadsheet, because apparently you can't you can't read a already open spreadsheet. I need to look into that. Anyway, what I really wanted to nail down was the inventory system. So you can see I spawn in. I've got the basic UI in the bottom left hand corner. This section here, I made alt kind of show and hide the mouse, though you still look around. You got, you know, the usual water, hunger, rest. This is just again just a basic example I threw together. And what was really cool is I did that all exclusively in C++, just to prove that I could. All it does is draw bars and draw text at fixed positions on the screen relative to the percent of the screen. So this is my attempt at starting in the bottom left hand corner, and then this automatically moves them around and stuff, and as you can see they're all there. That was just a fun proof of concept thing. But so the main thing is, if I press tab, like in pretty much every game of this nature, you have your inventory and the inventory of things around you. And I made a cool little highlight thing. And if I move into this, you can see that I've got both loot box 1 and loot box 0. And you can see, you know, I can open the chest piece and it's got items inside it, and the vest, and this one, you can see they're all different because it randomly generates what loot's inside all of them. And yeah, I really wanted to nail down the drag drop functionality. So this now uses the actual database. There's a couple of refresh things I need to solve, because currently if I refresh the external container, it hides this by default. But generally speaking, you can go from one inventory to the other. So you can see we've got 13 wood here and 13 wood there. Wood stacks to 20, so I would expect this to go to 7 and this to go to 5. 6, there you go. So there you go, it added the stack of wood into here and added it there. And this is all using the same system that I've been doing before, but now with all the same items and stuff. But it's all done using the item container. Now it's not too complicated. There's just a lot of corner cases which all of this manages. In essence, an item here is nothing more than an ID, the slot position, the container it exists in, and then the item that it represents this. So this vest here will have an item ID of whatever the vest is, so 7. So when the UI loads it gets the item ID 7, and then it finds the icon, finds the max stack size, which is where these nails and wood and stuff get their sizes from. You can see I can just drag from one to the other. I can equip the vest on the player, it's now all there. Put it back in the box, blah 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 blah. And now that it's all working, there's a couple of corner cases still. I can focus a lot more on making the game playable. So currently you can shoot, and I've got an SMG, so obviously I shoot really fast. And then if I it's all random, so I do need to actually find the items. Let's put an AK there, and now it's got slower fire rate, because obviously well, in my game I've made the AKs fire slower, and you know, we can pew things. Obviously it doesn't actually attach the weapon or anything, and you're not actually in first person. I just needed a different perspective for now, but I'll fix the camera at some point. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I guess my timer stuff worked. But yeah, so the intention here is to progressively go from what I've got here now to saving a player's inventory in a database and reloading it, which should be quite easy. And then it should be a case of let me think about this. So the AI work and use weapons correctly, and then I just need to start making, in essence, like base crafting system and base building, and that will all be using the same inventory, the same item structure and stuff. So yeah, I don't want to go too much into this at the moment, because I felt like you guys have probably seen this sort of stuff to death by now. So I just want to do a quick devlog of where I am, and what I've been up to at the moment. And eventually I will do a different kind of approach to this where I cover what I've already done, rather than doing a video of me doing it from scratch and figuring it out. Because I just wanted to get this right. I wanted to be able to sit down for like 3-4 hours every single evening and just do it and make it work. And there's been bugs that have stopped me getting any progress done for like multiple hours, and it just wouldn't have been very entertaining for people to watch. And like I said, it's no different from what I've already done in the RPG, other than the inventory system, which I've got working. I'll probably have to do a full multiple video guide on how I got the inventory system for this working, because it's not complicated. It's hard to visualize what the data looks like just from IDs. Because as you can see, that all of this code here, all of this is just for the drag drop. And the reason it's like this is because there's a lot of unique cases where am I dragging a container into a slot that it can go in? So for instance, if I try and equip this chest, it does nothing. If I try and put an AK in here, it does nothing. If I put this SMG in here and then put the AK here, it's found a valid slot. And the same goes for everything. So, you know, I put an axe here, it goes there. I can't equip an axe there or there or there or there. I can't store a chest piece in my inventory. I can store a chest piece in the legs currently, and then I can put the chest piece back in my inventory. And it's just every single one of these, if something else something, if this then that stuff, it's all for those kind of scenarios where am I being dropped onto something, an inventory, does it have the space, does it have a slot available for me, have I been dropped onto an existing item that I also am? So for instance, an SMG is a primary weapon, but so is an AK, so I can swap them over. But I can't swap over an AK and an axe because the axe is a secondary weapon, and so on and so on and so on. And eventually, it took me nearly a week to iron out all of the individual cases, but I now have it where I can put limitations on the player's inventory for the slots that things go into. And eventually I'll make it so you can't store chest pieces in chest pieces and legs and things, and they'll all have unique do's and don'ts basically. And that will be that. And once it works once, right, once I've got this set up, I can, in theory, copy and paste the code into my other, into the RPG, and it will work in exactly the same way. There's a couple of cases where, for instance, in the RPG, you can't store things in armor. So this game is very much like in Deadside, Scum, DayZ. Your armor has an inventory. Obviously, In a generic RPG, your armor is armor. It's just a damage reduction value. So yeah, that's where I am with this. I have this blue box here represents a mission area, and eventually when you'll be able to set properties on this mission area for the type of loot, the type of enemies. You'll be able to put restrictions on the AI or force the AI to have certain armor sets and loadouts and things, all that kind of stuff. And that's easy. That's really going to be really easy to do. I just add arrays of IDs for like the viable loot loadouts that AI can use. Set the type based on the difficulty and all these like lookup tables, and it would be great. And then I can make a massive 3D world, proper landscapes and buildings, and drop a mission in, and the mission will spawn loot boxes. The loot boxes will get the loot they can spawn from the mission, and so on and so on. So that's all going to be coming up once I've ironed out the player stuff, basically. Yeah, so yeah, that's where I am. I definitely haven't been idle. I've been the commit for the history for this is nuts. It's just absolute non-stop. This is also a private project, and I'm not sure I'll make it public, so we'll see what happens with that. But you can see, I mean, obviously it's a massive ass project. It was one I started making well, last week supposedly. Yeah, and I've just been going non-stop, so I'll keep going, and I'll do another devlog and stuff when I make a significant amount more progress. Most likely making the missions is probably going to be the next stage. And then base building is going to be quite a significant thing. So yeah, thanks for listening. I will get back to the other projects. I fully intend to make my real-time strategy game again properly, because now I have a much better understanding of the EQS system. I can use it to for resource gathering quite effectively, and yeah, all that kind of stuff. So I'll be I will be looking into that later. But for now, that's where I am. I've documented the absolute crap out of this project. Every single significant line of code has comments and things, and I've made sure that I've done proper stuff for this, so that if anyone ever comes to look at the code, it should be extremely obvious what everything does. There's a few new things that I need to sort out, but you can see I've done what I can. And if I do ever release it or get new people to work on it with me, then this is the code, and that's how it's going to be. So yeah, thanks for listening. I'll hopefully be carrying this on for the foreseeable future. Gonna make my own assets and things as well. So yeah, see you guys around.